Hello and welcome to day 54 of Dungeon 23. Today we're going to be making this room here, which I already kind of did because I started, but then I realized that it would be better to make a sprite than just to have a colored block and then a whole wall of text that's in the GM info overlay. When, like I said, a sprite would be better because as we've used, it's a lot easier to use sprites because they have their own built-in text and it's just a lot easier to do. So, what are we going to put in here? It's going to be a kind of a trap, and it's one that is inspired by some suggestions I got from people in my usual D&D group. The one that's the space trucking spelljammer game. And the idea is that there are cursed weapons. So, this is my kind of take on it. So, I do have a little display case rather. And let's just rotate this guy, make him longer. Probably not the best sprite, but it works for what we're doing. And let's, as always, lock position, set dimensions, set, and so let's just name this guy here. Save the settings. And so first, being a glass display case, you could just break it. And now glass technically has like an AC and an HP, but it's glass. It's not moving. You can just break it. But aside from that, the lock DC is going to be not super high. Oh. Lock DC. That's weird. It's going to be 16. Breaking. Oh. Only requires an action. The display case contains 4 ornamental daggers. Each worth 10 gold pieces. If these daggers are removed from the case with the lock being picked / unlocked, they behave as normal. Oh, my Discord's going off. And here's the fun part. This is what makes it a trap. If the glass is broken, then the daggers animate and attack whomever broke the glass. Mending the glass panel. So, the way it works is they summon these guys, animated daggers, which that is a really small token. I may change that later. I'm probably not going to use that for other things. I'm just going to do that for now. And is it specified 4? Yeah, 4. So the way animated daggers work is technically there is the animated object item in the PHB and I believe a DMG, and that's kind of like the rough basis for animated daggers, although it's either animated dagger or flying dagger, because as far as I know, there's one in the Boulder Gate Descent into Avernus book, which is the one I'm using for this, and then there's also one in the Critical Role Wild Mount guide. And the one from the Wild Mount guide has a lot more HP, I think 12 HP, whereas the one in the Descent into Avernus book, the Boulder Gate book, has only 7 HP. So that's going to be the one we're using. They have a fly speed of 50, so they're pretty fast. On top of that, because they're tiny objects, they have a really high AC of 17. So they're hard to hit, they're fast. Their two main weaknesses are, one, it doesn't do too much damage, 1d4 plus 2, which can be a lot. That's 6 damage for second level, so it's not low per se, but their actual 2 hit is only plus 3, so they're not going to be hitting super often. The other thing is that they also have anti-magic susceptibility. Now, that isn't going to be too much of an issue here, unless the party still hold on to their scroll of anti-magic, their scroll of dispel magic. And let me just specify something here, because it's going to be a bit easier. Let's see here. Using on the display case or any one of the daggers deactivates them. All of them. So basically it's a 1 or nothing. Or, well, they're all like tied together. They're all bound together. So you could just deactivate one and you deactivate all of them. Because it's more of like a trap than an actual monster. Although technically they are... I say monster for basically any NPC or adversary. You may have noticed that by now. But it's more so to act as a trap. Or more so a trap for people who are impatient. Because you can just smash it open and take the daggers, but, you know, they'll attack you if you just lockpick it. Or use a knock, or, you know, try to break it open. Then, if you break it to get them, then they attack you. But if you open it gently and carefully and nothing is broken, then they're just going to stay normal, mundane weapons. They won't animate. And they have a higher value of 10 instead of, like, how much is, like, a dagger? Like 2 silver pieces? They're not super expensive, but these guys are ornate. So they're going to have more value as treasure than actual weapons. Although they could be used as weapons, because they're still daggers, it's just that they're fancy. Maybe if the party wizard identifies the whole thing and then they determine that, you know, breaking the glass triggers them to animate, Maybe if they had like someone has carpenter's tools, they could like disassemble the case and then just have the glass panel with the daggers, and then if you see a monster, you just throw the glass panel at it. If it shatters, then all the daggers attack the monster for a bit. Or maybe you take the whole case with you if you want to. It's not light, but it's not as heavy as like the piano. Probably about as heavy as a treasure chest. Although it is fragile because, there's glass and, you've seen display cases before. It's not exceptionally sturdy. It's more so ornate and fancy looking. But with that room done, this has been day 54. Thanks for watching. Do all the algorithm stuff, like, comment, subscribe, that kind of stuff. And I apologize for the poor quality. It's not going to improve.